Today's conversation is a little bit different. We're going to look at a small presentation together, which is supposed to help you understand that we have no time left. If you're still talking about 2022, 2023, I'll start at this point. Some of us have a lot of information, things that can already change your life around, lakini tumebaki pale kwa kusema bado ngoja kidogo, ngoja when things are better tutaiangalia. So this presentation is supposed to help you understand that you do not have the time. Let's jump to the computer together. Let's get started. So there's an average lifespan of about 80 years for human beings, and we want to break it into 4 parts. I'll do a circle and then come up with 4 equal quarters: 0 to 20, 20 to 40, and this will help us with illustration so that we understand what happens in each different quarter. So now, between 0 and 20 years, this is when a human being is born. This is the time when they go through childhood and the time that they go to school. This is the time when you study, and this is the time when you play. You're growing generally, someone takes care of that. Then there comes the second quarter, which is the 20 to 40 years quarter. A lot of things happen, and I call this the busiest quarter when we're talking about planning ourselves financially. Probably your first job, your first car, your first house. This is a time that when majority are getting married. Most people get kids during this quarter. This is the time when your life dramatically changes, and so many things happen during this phase. This is when you start investing, this is when you start saving, this is when you're thinking about your future generation. Then we jump to the 40 to 60 quarter. This is when you're probably in your second job, or rather like have grown through ranks if you're still in the same job. Your investments are maturing. And this is especially for someone that took their time to invest during the 20 to 40 quarter. And maybe you planted trees, you bought some land, whatever it is that you did, your investments are matured in some way. You took some paper assets, you invested in savings accounts or fixed deposits. So most of the money that you've been setting aside or investing is maturing. You're probably in your second car, your second house. In most cases, you're not in the same place that you were when you're in the 20 to 40 quarter. And another very important part is that when you're between 40 and 60, your kids are getting through this stage, the 0 to 20. That time where someone took care of you, when you're between 40 and 60, it's your time to pay back. You're returning the favor. Some people start earlier, but majority of the people during this quarter is when your kids are going through that 0 to 20 phase, either somewhere in between, either starting or they've already gone through that. Then there comes the final stage, which is the 60 to 80, and this is the retirement phase. Now, these 2 quarters have something in common. Between 0 and 20 and 60 and 80, you are not actively working. I understand for some people they receive allowances where between 0 and 20, some of the allowances they get weekly or monthly exceed what some people earn the whole month when they're between 20 and 60. But then for majority of people between 0 and 20, and for 60 and 80, they are known as no income phases. No active working, no active employment, therefore there is no income coming through. Then that means something, that a half of our lives have already been taken by no income. That means we're not making money at this specific time. Therefore, we are left with only half, the second half, the bottom half of the circle. The question is, today you're probably watching and you're 35. And if you're 35 today, then it means you've already consumed this other portion, and we're going to include it to the no income. For someone who's 35, they've lost another 15 years, which are meant to be productive and actively used to plan their finances. But that then means that the only time that is left is no longer half of your life. It is now technically 5 years for the first quarter and then 20 years for the last 40 to 60 quarter. But wait a minute, this remaining part for you to achieve all your dreams and to make all your goals come to pass could be somewhere at this point. It could be at 40, it could be at 25, wherever it is. When will you finally say enough is enough and start taking your plans seriously? Like for real. One thing that we've learned from this illustration over here is that we are quickly running out of time to prepare not only for retirement, but also taking care of the financial obligations that we have. Whether it is your house, it's your mortgage, it's your emergencies, it's your kids, it's your spouse, it's your family, whatever it is that you need to do. We've realized that this is the only time that you have. When will you finally say enough is enough and stop losing more time and take your plans seriously? Next question that I would like to ask is, how much time do you have left to prepare for the next time you are, and watch this, on your own financially? There are several times that we get ourselves on our own. One of the biggest places that you're really going to be on your own is when you retire. You would be lucky if your spouse will be there. That will be a good plus. However, when we'll be looking at this part two, we'll also look at how that becomes even more costly to be on your own financially. Therefore, the other times that you're going to be on your own are times like when you get emergencies, when something happens to you in your house, when your kids come home and show you the invoice for the next term. As much as people will come and join you when you have a fundraising for a medical emergency, but mostly you really have to figure things on your own. So, how much time do you have left to prepare financially? So, if half of our lives is what we have to plan for all this, it's important to know that life happens so fast, so you really need to make each day count. Therefore, as you think about these things, also remember to plan for emergencies. Emergencies happen every other time. It could be medical emergencies, it could be death emergencies, maybe you or your loved one, someone that will have to get you into financial involvement. You could lose your job. Hello, you lose your job. We've seen people lose their jobs. We've seen people's businesses sink, go down during the pandemic. So these are things that nobody plans for. When you start a business, you don't start a business expecting it to go down. There are family emergencies, things which didn't necessarily touch you. You're not the sick one, you're not the dead one, but someone in your family definitely needs you, and it's a family emergency. You can't get away from it. So it is important to realize that if you do not take your time to plan, you are planning to fail. And I will repeat that. If you do not plan, you are planning to fail. Either way, you're making a plan